everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you have seen my previous videos, if not, my name is Shauna. I am a New York City based fashion model and lover of makeup. It has been a while since I filmed a tutorial. I've had a lot going on. Some big projects finally came out and I actually have been doing more modeling than usual, but also a part of me has felt kind of blah, like coming off of that and then going back to more ordinary days, just working my day job. I don't say that to be ungrateful. I'm very thankful that I have a roof over my head still, that I do have a day job that pays my bills. But when you have a lot of creative projects and then suddenly like they slow down a little, it can just be a little hard to get back into that. But I know I just have to keep the momentum going. And in doing that, I wanted to film more of a kind of get ready with me to show you how to get the look from the Real Catwalk. It was a very diffused pink where the eyeshadow kind of just blended into the blush, and it was like a very high blush that went to the temples, like 80s style. But not as intensely pigmented as the 80s. I probably honestly am going to do it a little heavier than what the runway actually was, just to make it my own. And that's something I encourage everyone to do rather than like directly copy something. I mean, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But I think that there's something more special about taking inspiration, but then making it your own. So that's what we're going to be doing today. A lot of the look was skin prep. The skin was very clean for this look, and so but also very glowy. So to achieve that, I started off with the Pacifica Vegan Collagen Recovery Eye Cream, and to be honest, my eyes are still a little red from that. I have pretty sensitive skin, and it doesn't like irritate me as far as feeling goes, but it does cause a little redness, but it goes away, it's fine. And then I added some of the Vegan Collagen Complex Serum. And then just for some extra glow, I added the Glow Baby Booster Serum. And that definitely, like I added more in here, and you can see on the skin where it definitely added a more intense glow. I am going to be using foundation, of course, but this just provides a nice clean base. So let's just get going, and I'm just going to talk as I go through the process of putting on the makeup, share some about behind the scenes, the experience, and yeah, so let's just get into it. So lately I have been doing my brows first. I used to do my base first and then my brows, but for some reason I've changed it up lately. So I'm going to be going in with the KVD Super Brow Pomade in the shade Bleach. This is what I always use when my brows are growing back in. Well, the natural color is growing back in. So yeah, I'm just going to take an angle brush and go in and just where the, I mean, I'm going to do it all over, but especially in the areas where the natural color has started to come back in. So yeah, we actually filmed the Real Catwalk in January. It was done very safely. Everybody had to get a COVID test prior to the event, a maximum of 48 hours. I think it was 48 hours prior to the event. And it was filmed at Spring Studios. And for those of you who are not into fashion, that is one of the premier places for New York Fashion Week fashion shows, as well as a place where fashion films are produced. And so, yeah, we had to show our negative COVID results before even entering the building. And of course, all the makeup artists and hairstylists were wearing masks the entire time. The film crew was wearing masks the entire time. So the only people who were not wearing masks were the models. And it just felt really safe because we had all taken precautions. It was an amazing day. We had to be there at 7 o'clock in the morning. And it just was exhilarating. I had been a part of the Real Catwalk since the very beginning in 2017 when there were only 7 of us in Times Square. And I honestly didn't even know exactly what we were doing. but Christiana asked me to be a part of it, and I said sure. But I never thought that it would become what it has and what it will continue to grow to be. And it's just amazing to have been a part of it from that very beginning point and see that growth and see how many people we've brought into the family. Because, I mean, that really ultimately is what it is. It's a community. And see how many lives we've touched, both with people who are a part of it and just viewers too who may be struggling with whatever issues, whether it's body image relation, body related issues, body image related issues, whether it's eating disorders, whether it's just confidence in general. And it really is a safe space for everybody. We invite everybody, no matter who you are, whatever your walk of life is, your age, race, size, gender, anything, you're welcome. And I think that that's so beautiful and that's so needed, because in the fashion space there is often so much exclusivity and it turns so many people away, and at the end of the day, where nobody is better than anybody else. And so it's really nice to see a truly inclusive space that isn't tokenizing either. So yeah, the idea behind the look for the Real Catwalk, as far as the fashion aspect of it goes, we basically were done up like bouquets of flowers, and they were artificial flowers. And so the idea was that we had this artificial beauty, and well, let me say what I'm going to do first. So now I'm going to be going in with the Pacifica Beauty Liquid Cover Full Coverage Lasting Concealer. First I'm going to conceal under the eyes, around the smile line, and then just a little around the jawline. And then I'm going to go in with the Pacifica Beauty A Light Clean Foundation in the shade 36CL. Oh, and the concealer I use is 20NF. This is a little lighter than I am, but I like it because it gives a brightening effect. And this is more so my true foundation color. And I know a lot of people like to do foundation first and then concealer. This is just my personal process. So yeah, I'm going to do that. So yeah, the idea was that we were stripping away the artificial beauty, because then underneath that we had our lingerie looks, and they were pretty neutral lingerie sets. And that was to show this is us exactly as we are. We're celebrating us as we are. And it was just a really powerful, beautiful moment. And each person had their own way of going down the runway, and I love that. And then both Ryan, Michael Kelly, and Mark Elsie did photos, did beautiful, beautiful portraits of both the flower look and then just the stripped down lingerie look. And those went to Refinery 29 and to Glamour UK. And it was so, so, so exciting to see us all on those major, major platforms and to know that we reached so many people. It really was a beautiful experience. And everybody involved in the project was amazing. And it just was so nice. There's so often this competitive energy in fashion, and it was nice to just be there, and there was none of that. We were all there for each other, lifting each other up and wanting each other to shine as brightly as we can. And then after, it just was like a waiting game, because we knew that it was not coming out until Fashion Week, and we all just were so anxiously awaiting the release of it. And there ended up being like a lot of technical difficulties in the process, but we did it. And well, I can't take any credit for that part of it. Christiana, Jelena, the whole behind the scenes team really did everything that they needed to do to ensure that this was going to be released, because they definitely had a lot of hurdles along the way. And since I'm doing makeup, I might as well talk about the makeup. So basically the look, like I said, is like a very simple look and just like kind of a flushed cheek, just to let our natural beauty shine through. But to give a little insight into how the makeup process goes behind the scenes at a fashion show, so there is a lead makeup artist, and that person normally collaborates with the designer, and in this case Guvanch was the designer and stylist. He's the one who came up with our flower looks. They normally collaborate, and in this case Christiana, since she's the producer of the show and the originator of the Real Catwalk, she's the one who mainly collaborated with the lead makeup artist, Nico, and they came up with a look together. So then what happens is, before makeup starts, the lead makeup artist would meet with the other makeup artists on the team to go over what the look is. Usually, I'm not sure if this happened because I was getting my hair done, but usually they will have a demo model where the lead makeup artist will demonstrate what the look is, and then that will then allow the makeup artist to more easily execute the look. Sometimes a makeup brand is an actual sponsor of fashion shows, like especially like on the higher end of things and more established designers, they will have a makeup sponsor, and sometimes those makeup sponsors provide makeup, and so the makeup artist will use that those exact products. But often when that's not the case, basically the makeup artist will just use whatever is in their kit to achieve the look. And that's basically the way it was in this case. Pacifica did provide some goodie bags with a couple makeup products and definitely some skincare, and I definitely did use the eye patches because it was so early in the morning I could barely sleep the night before because I was so excited. But yeah, I know that a lot of products were used that unfortunately were not cruelty free, and since I only use cruelty free makeup, that's part of why I wanted to recreate the look, showing how you could get it using only cruelty free products. So that's exactly what I'm doing. And as far as hair goes for the day, I'm not going to be recreating the hair look, just because I don't want to be adding heat to my hair right now. But basically, the models did have some input with that for this particular show. And basically, since this whole show is so empowering about being who you are, we were allowed to give some input on what we feel best in. And I basically said, you know, really glamorous, like a loose wavy curl is what I feel best in. At least as far as something that is like more toned down and easy to achieve. And Whitney Hunt was the makeup artist. My personal hairstylist that I was assigned. And then Dasha was the makeup artist who did my makeup. So yeah, I had a loose wavy curl. It came out great. It was very bouncy. Kind of that just effortless loose wavy curl. And sorry if I like have a lot of pauses and say a lot. I'm not used to doing like a full talk through, get ready with me as I'm doing this. So this is a new process for me. So now I like to do a lip prep when I am doing my makeup so that my lips can be moisturized and be prepped for the additional lip product that I put on. So this was actually in the goodie bag that Pacifica gave us, and actually now that I think about it, this glow product was as well. So this is the Peach Shimmer and Jojoba Lips and Skin Balm. Honestly, if you wanted, like, you really could get away with just using this as the lip, because like it leaves the lips so shiny. Like it really has like such a glossy finish. Oh shoot, I poured out way too much. Whoops. at least doing it this way, you get to see that it's not this perfect process the way that the editing makes it seem like sometimes there's definitely human error, and you just have to go with it and keep going. Alright, so it's definitely a lot of product, but like, see how shiny that alone is? So pretty. Alright, so let's see, I've given you insight to the makeup process, the hair. I mean, honestly, there's a lot of waiting around with fashion shows. There is a lot of waiting around. All right. So now I'm going to start with basically what the star of the show, of the makeup look is, which is the blush going into the eyes. And I am going to be using blush for both the eyes and the cheeks. And that's another thing about this makeup look that I'm excited to show is like makeup products can be multi-purpose. Like you can use powder blushes on the eyes, on the cheeks. You can use a lipstick on the eyes, lips, and cheeks. Makeup can definitely be multi-purpose. All right, so I'm going to start with the Doubledown Cosmetics blush in the shade The Cosmic. And this is a beautiful, it's such a stunning pink shade. I'm definitely going to go in fairly light with it. Their blushes are very pigmented. They're going to show up on any skin tone. They're going to look beautiful on any skin tone. But since this look was somewhat diffused and I'm going to largely follow it, I don't want to go too heavy. I want to build up. So, and I always have to pat out where the concealer was in the crease because I get that little line where the product settles. All right, so I'm just gonna start in the crease. I had to think about that for a second because I'm like, how am I gonna approach this? Because I know I'm actually gonna be using 2 different blush colors at the suggestion of Kristen when I was talking to her. And the second color is actually going to be in the crease, but I might as well still lay down a base of just this color. And if you hear anything in the background, I'm going to try to add some music over it, but my roommate is right next to my room. And I am very close to a busy street in Brooklyn, so there's definitely a lot of noise, but that's New York for you. So, yeah, as we were waiting in line, we definitely had some prep time, well, some waiting time, as I was saying. And so we got our bouquets on, and the ribbon for that was very long. So I definitely wanted to practice and give some of the other models some tips. Because they were so long, it definitely helped to pick up the ribbon and then kind of like push it outward so that it would go out as you walk so that you wouldn't fall on it, well, trip on it. But yeah, we basically, the way it was done is we did one take of the flower look because we had to take that off, and that would have been quite an ordeal to try to redo that. But then once we took that off, we did a couple takes of just the underwear look, which Adore Me did very kindly supply. And for some of the looks, they were Evelyn and Bobby. My particular look was a set from Adore Me. I went with a bralette option because I'm pretty flat-chested and that's just going to work better for me. But I actually was kind of excited because it was one of their eco-friendly options. So it was nice that that just worked out that way. Oh, and with this, I actually probably shouldn't have really fully taken the eyebrow product to the end of the tail, because the eyeshadow is actually going to blend into the blush, so it's going to like go past that, but it's fine. It also just felt really nice to be around a bunch of creative people. It was the biggest project that I've been involved in since the pandemic, and it felt nice to safely be around like-minded people and to just share space with each other. It was really a lovely experience. And I remember once we were done, I just was so elated from everything, and I just walked around Manhattan, even though I was so tired at that point and hungry. Um, I walked around Manhattan. We filmed, um, like I said, at Spring Studios, which is in Lower Manhattan, and I walked from there. Like it's near Canal Street. I walked from there to, I believe I walked up to Penn Station, so kind of far. And to be honest, this is already probably more pigmented than the look from that day was, but oh shoot. I just realized I was going to make a reel and I totally forgot to... I totally forgot. You know what? I'm gonna pause this and like kind of get creative somehow. I'm gonna figure this out. Alright, so I'm back. So Christiana suggested that we do a reel for the tutorial, just because reels are more effective with getting content out to more people. And so I totally plan on doing like a little kind of transformative one that, like the style that's really popular right now. And I just totally forgot about it when I started doing my makeup and then doing this talk through style tutorial. So I just paused it and I did something to make it work, having the part of the look already done. So yeah, I'm now just taking a clean blending brush and blending that fully up to the brow, seamless, to create a seamless effect. And I'll do more blending when I do the actual blush on the cheek as well. And like I said, this is definitely already more intense than what we actually had the day of, but I'm just kind of making it my own with the general concept of the blush going into the, the eyeshadow going into the blush. But I'm still definitely going to make it very diffused and very blended. Alright, so where were we? I now am going to take the standard blush, which is a beautiful coral blush. Oh my god, that's gorgeous. I I know I've seen it so many times, but it really is just a beautiful blush. I'm only going to take a little bit of this just to add some dimension in the crease and in the outer corner. I definitely need to use this blush more often. Oh, I can share a little bit with you about the day that the Real Catwalk premiered this past Saturday. So, I wanted to surprise Christiana with some flowers and some treats. So I created we had a running group chat with everybody involved with the Real Catwalk on Instagram. So I created a separate chat with everyone except Christiana because I wanted it to be a surprise and I wanted to see if other people would want to chip in. And the rest of the Real Catwalk family was so kind and chipping in. And I arranged getting the flowers. David Hand suggested a local florist, and they were amazing. The arrangement was stunning. So I went Saturday morning to pick up the flowers, and I went to Whole Foods and got some watermelon water because if you don't know Christiana, that is like her favorite drink ever. She loves it. And so I got 3 of the huge bottles of that. And then I learned another treat. Maybe I won't tell that because I guess that was a little more of a surprise. I didn't even know that. But yeah, I got her another treat. And I had arranged with one of the other models who was going to be on set with her, because originally I was planning on going to her apartment because she lives near me, and I was just going to hand deliver it that way. She was like, no, you can't do that. She's going to be on set. And I was like, oh, shoot. So then we arranged for me to go to the set, and I was texting her, Megan, and she was like, oh my god, I'm in hair and makeup now. And so I was waiting outside for someone to let me in the studio. And then Melanie thankfully was able to come down. She saw my message, and she came to get me. And then she went in the studio and told Christiana there was a surprise. And I waited outside briefly, and then I went in. And she was so surprised. She had no idea that we had arranged this for her. She was so grateful. And it was such a lovely moment to like see her. And she just totally deserved it. Like, she has put so much into this. The whole team behind the scenes of the Real Catwalk has done an immense amount of work to make sure that this got out in time and that it was edited to the most professional standards possible. And they did an amazing, amazing job. And I just wanted to personally thank Christiana and like from all of us for everything that she does and that she continues to do. I will always be grateful for everything that she does. But the funny thing is, when I got there, I got all done up because I wanted to surprise her, like, as me. And I was wearing the Trans Pride blazer that Guvanch made, which is like a white base, and then it has like one huge pink tulle sleeve, and then one on the other side, it's a blue sleeve of tulle. And the owner of the company that the shoot was for was there at the shoot, and she was like, she just invited me to be part of the shoot, like, on the spot. So I literally got booked for a photo shoot and got to stay and be a part of that, which I'm, again, immensely grateful for. Yet another opportunity that has come from Christiana that wasn't even expected. Like, I literally was there to give her something and ended up getting something in return. And I had a lovely day, and can't wait to see those images. And yeah, it was magical. And I remember being in the car because I took a car home to make sure that the flowers wouldn't get messed up on the train, which honestly, in retrospect, I actually would have gotten home faster taking the train. And I'm sure the flowers would have been fine, but it is what it is. And so I didn't get home in time for the premiere. And so I watched it in the car ride home, and it just brought tears to my eyes, tears of joy, to see us making this change in the industry. And I think that's something that I want to talk about for a little bit. And by the way, I'm just going in with more of the cosmic on the lid now. And when you use a packer brush like this, a flat packer brush, you see a little bit more of the shimmer than when I was using the fluffy blending brush earlier, and I really like that. And like I said, this is definitely already more intense, but I'm loving the way this is going. I'm happy with it. So yeah, and now I'm gonna go in with a flat brush, a smaller flat brush on the bottom, and add some color because I always like to do that as well. So some more insider information. The industry likes the public to think that they're doing more work than they are, to be perfectly honest. And basically what ends up happening is they'll do like a few diversity campaigns, a few inclusivity campaigns a year around very specific targeted times in order to make the public feel like they're doing more work than they actually are, because the rest of the year when they're booking, a lot of them are still booking from a very conservative standpoint, and very much adhering to very conventional beauty standards, very much the same models over and over again, the ones with the huge followings, the ones that even people in fashion do know of. And it's really disappointing, honestly. So a lot of us have waited around for the industry to change, and while on one hand I'm thankful that some things have opened up, it needs to be more. People who do not fit the exact mold that they want deserve more opportunities than there are available. And if you're going to be a model, like, you can't survive off of one campaign, like one thing a year. You need to be booking multiple things, and this is something that I can speak on from the perspective of being a trans woman. Around Pride time, like a few months before Pride, there are all these campaigns that want to book trans people. But why is the industry silent the rest of the year, other than like the few trans people who have made it into that sphere and are booking regularly? Like, basically the people who are already famous. And I want to see that change. And doing what we do with the Real Catwalk is helping create that change, because we're saying you may not be doing the work that you need to be doing or at the level that you need to be doing. So we're going to show you what real diversity, what real inclusivity, what real representation looks like. And everybody involved in the project has a story. We all have had different life experiences, but the unifying factor is that we have faced adversity and we've persevered. We love what we do, and we're here to show the world that you are beautiful no matter who you are, no matter what anybody else tries to tell you. And it's actually interesting because a couple of the models have dealt with bullying recently. And actually, I myself, unrelated to this, recently dealt with somebody who was being transphobic. I want you all to know that bullies are insecure themselves. Most people already know this, but it warrants saying again. They are not happy with their lives, and they feel threatened seeing someone that the world tells isn't good enough feel confident and own who they are, know who they are, and celebrate who they are. But the reality is the bullies need to do the work to get there themselves. Everybody can reach that point. Everybody can find that inner confidence, that inner peace, that inner love. It's just a matter of facing yourself, facing anything that you feel isn't good enough, and telling yourself that you are. Because you are. You don't owe anybody anything. You don't owe changing yourself to fit in. You don't owe your family being what they want you to be. All you owe is yourself love, basically. Because when you have that within, even if you see something that may not be your cup of tea or that you fully love, you're just able to move past it. It doesn't affect you, it doesn't bother you. And we need more self aware, compassionate, loving people in this world. And everybody involved in the Real Catwalk is that. So for anybody maybe who isn't in a more liberal pocket in New York like I am, and I'm thankful that I am, know that you are good enough and that you deserve to love yourself first and foremost. So I know I kind of got into that. It's something I really care about. I want to see this world become more compassionate, and I fully believe that that starts within. So now I'm just going to go in with I don't know why I can't talk fully today, but anyway, I'm going in with the Doubledown Cosmetics, the Fortune Highlighter. This is from their Ancestral Collection Volume 1 to celebrate their Cape Verdean heritage, which I love that they did that. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful way to honor their culture. So, actually, do I have that brush? Uh-oh, did I not? Oh, here it is. Okay, great. So I'm just going to be taking a tiny, tiny bit of this and placing this in the inner eye area to add just a touch of highlight. And this is also the highlight color that I'm going to be using on the cheeks. It's just a beautiful, light, basically white base with a gold reflect to it. I guess you could say it's a white gold. It's a really lovely color. And I personally think that it's a dupe for, and I mean, this came out before this anyway, but I think if you have been interested in the new Anastasia Icy highlighter, that this is a really, really nice clean beauty option for that. Because even though that one is icy, it does have a gold tone to it for sure. Alright, I'm adding more of this than I had planned, but I think honestly I'm just giving this look the Shauna Steele treatment. And why not? And the thing I love about doing projects like this too is you're connected to that group of people always. Even when you don't have communication with them for a long time, you created something so special and powerful together that it binds you in a healthy way. All right, that's lovely. And also, I am totally going to Whole Foods like this afterward. And now I usually like to take a liner in the bottom waterline to add some brightness. I mean, it's not always for brightness. Sometimes it's just like to pull everything together. But for this one, I definitely want to make the eyes pop more. So I'm going to go in with this Pacifica Beauty. This is it doesn't really have a name of the product, but I believe the color of this pencil is Bare. This is something that you can use. It's like a multi-use pencil. You could use it as a liner on top if you wanted, but for me, its perfect use is in the inner waterline. And it's nice because it's like a light neutral color that isn't white, so it's more natural looking. Like, white is definitely fun if you want the eyes to pop and look bigger with like a more bold look, even though this is turning out somewhat bold. But yeah, for the color story we're going for and for the feel, this is perfect. Yeah, it just makes the eyes pop a little more. All right. And now I'm going to curl my lashes. These are the Tweezerman lashes. I mean, lashes. Eyelash curlers. I recently on set had the opportunity to, the makeup artist let me curl my own lashes. And I tried out the Surratt eyelash curlers. And I think I really want to get those because these are nice, but those were like a lot more solid. And most eyelash curlers are pretty flimsy, and I like that that one was not at all. And what I love about the Real Catwalk is it shows that everybody deserves the opportunity to shine. And something for me in particular is that growing up, and the documentary that Laverne Cox was a part of, Disclosure, gets into this. I really didn't see positive examples of trans people. I wasn't even aware that I'm a woman until I was 18 because I grew up in the South and I didn't really have exposure to that. And what limited exposure I did have to trans people in the media was really negative. And oh, and I'm just going in with the Milk Makeup Kush mascara. This is my all-time favorite mascara. It's basically the only thing I use. I love how voluminous it is, and how lengthening it is as well, but it also nourishes the lashes because it has hemp fibers in it. And just so you know, none of this is sponsored. I was gifted some of these products. I was gifted the Doubledown products and the Pacifica products, but there was no expectation that I create content. I'm not being paid for this. I'm just using products that I genuinely love. But anyway, yeah, like I was saying, I mainly saw, you know, Jerry Springer shows, Maury Povich shows, where they would invite trans people on the show, especially trans women, and they would get them on the show and then do absolutely ludicrous things where they would call the trans women men to their faces, and it was just awful. And that was something that made me hide for so long because I was so afraid of going through that. I didn't hide as far as being who I am. Like, I began my medical transition when I was 18 years old. And, well, technically the medical part when I was 19, but I was living authentically starting at age 18. But I hid telling people I was trans. There were a select few people I would tell, and I told some close friends, and I would tell people that I dated, but even that was like such a hassle. And I'm so thankful that now, years later, things are far from perfect, and there's still a lot of work to do. But I'm thankful that at least that narrative of mocking trans women on television in front of a national audience is no longer remotely acceptable. I'm glad that asking trans people personal questions, invasive questions about their bodies and what they have done to them has stopped, or at least is more minimal. I remember when Laverne Cox and Carmen Carrera were interviewed by Katie Couric, and they shut her down when she started asking about surgeries. And that was the first time that that was done, because up until that point, trans people were basically treated like lab subjects. Like, oh, what have you done to your body? And I remember too when Janet Mock did a little segment where she did a mock interview, and I can't remember who she was doing the interview with, but I remember the person was a cis woman, and she started asking her about her period, and you saw the discomfort on her face, and that perfectly illustrates how inappropriate it is to ask trans people questions about their body. If we decide to volunteer that information, that's fine. Each person is allowed to decide what they are comfortable with sharing. But it should not be asked. And I am really, really happy to see that shift. I'm happy to see more trans people thriving. It's still sadly a major issue within the Black trans community because that is where we see the most violence, that is where we see the most deaths, and that needs to stop. I should not be able to walk through this world as a white cis-passing trans woman and have more freedom, feel safer in this world, because Black trans women deserve everything that I am able to experience. And I want to see that change. I want to see Black trans women be safe. And I want to see people stop blaming them too, because a lot of people will say, oh, well, they were a sex worker and this and that. That's irrelevant. Trans people are human first and foremost, and we deserve to live just as everybody else does. So that conversation needs to completely come to an end. Yeah. All right. So now I'm finally going to, I'm sorry if it's like weird, like going back and forth, like having like this deep conversation to then talking about makeup. I'm just like trying to let people know like what I'm applying as I go. So now I'm going in on the cheeks with the Cosmic Blush. And I'm going to start, I think, about here, because it was definitely pretty high and it didn't go very low. And I'm just going to slowly add a little bit at a time and blend it up to the temples. And then I'm going to be working to blend the shadow in together with it. But yeah, I want to see trans people being celebrated. I want to see trans people getting well-paying jobs. I want to see trans people building families just as everybody else does. I want to see us getting all the love and support that we deserve. And I'm just kind of stippling it on, and blending. And it's pretty effortlessly blending in with the shadow, honestly. Kind of bring it below some too. Yeah, that's looking really pretty. And I do want to say that for the most part, with my experiences with jobs that I've booked, I've been treated just like everybody else. I've been appreciated. I've felt loved. I've had mostly very humanizing experiences for the jobs that I've booked. I will say, however, some of the castings I've been to have been quite problematic. I guess I can share this now. I won't say exactly what it was for. And I'm not even entirely sure what company it was, because sometimes that happens with castings too. Sometimes you know the client ahead of times, and other times you only know a general category. And in this specific instance, I only knew a general category. I know that it was a commercial. I know that I got a little too much on the brush, so I'm going to like put that, start over here, and then come back. So yeah, I know it was a commercial, and I know that there would have been some acting involved. Basically, they wanted a trans woman to portray a bride. And I was like, okay, that's fun. That sounds fine. And I've actually done bridal modeling before, so I was like, okay, familiar territory. But then I see the script, and weren't many lines, but there were stage directions in it as well. And I just remember cringing so hard reading the stage directions, because it basically was saying that there were, it started raining at the wedding and it was ruining everything, and the bride was so upset, and this is where like the insurance part comes in, and it's like, sure, that makes sense, like a scenario where life happens, insurance is here to protect you, like, okay, I get it. But they basically set it up in a way where the rain, oops, that was too pigmented. I may have to take concealer because that's even more pigmented than I wanted. But that's the thing about these Doubledown blushes. They're so pigmented that like such a small amount goes such a long way. But anyway, so they wanted the makeup to basically wash off. And the stage directions said that that revealed that she was trans. And I'm like, oh, we're doing that. Like, and that's the kind of nonsense that you would expect from those talk shows from the 90s and 2000s, where they wanted to like call you out and be like, oh, see, that's a man, which is obviously inaccurate to begin with. But to act like we only appear to be women, which that's a whole conversation in itself, because there's so many varying forms of what women look like. There's not this one way that any group of women is supposed to look like. That's basically saying like we're just a result of putting on makeup to pretend that we're women, and that was so unacceptable. And I remember bringing that to the production team's attention when I was at the casting. But it was just so disappointing. And I even offered to help rewrite it in a way that would be more accurate, for one, and also less harmful, and not harmful at all to the trans community, because that's something that also a lot of these spaces don't consider. A lot of these productions that involve trans people are not written by trans people, do not involve trans people in the casting process and the production process. And that needs to be there. Our stories are our stories to tell, not other people's stories. And I know that myself and so many other trans people are tired of our narratives being told in a way that is not only inaccurate, but it's harmful to the community, harmful and sending misinformation to the public. So that's we're finally seeing that happen. We're finally seeing shows like Pose that have writers who are trans on the show. Like Janet Mock is heavily involved in that show. They have people from the ballroom community involved in the show, starring in the show. And for that, I'm really thankful. And we just need to see more of that. That needs to be the norm, not the exception. And I feel like especially in fashion spaces, like it's still the exception. All right, I'm almost where I want it to be with the blush. I may just diffuse it out a bit more, but I'm pretty happy with how this is looking. And yeah, like I said in other tutorials with blush, like if it does get too heavy, you can always just go back over it with powder, just to bring it down a bit. And maybe I will do that a little bit. If I can remember where, there it is, okay. Yeah, I think I will just a tiny bit. But overall, I'm really happy with how this is looking. But really, I want to see a world where it's not just New York, where people can feel comfortable being who they are. And not to say that everybody even feels that comfort here, because sadly, there's still bigotry and hatred here. I mean, there is everywhere, but it's definitely less. It's definitely easier to be who you are here um, than a lot of other places. And I just want young people to know that, to not have to go through the things that I went through. I went through years of hating myself. I went through years of hiding because I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to live the kind of life that I want to live. And I'm thankful that actually getting to the point where I am now is a result of fully embracing who I am more boldly than ever. And I know that the younger generations coming up have so much more knowledge available than I did when I was younger. And I'm really, really thankful for that. And I know that together we can all create a kinder world that is going to be a safer, happier place for everybody. Alright, I'm taking the blush a little farther down just so that it's more blended and there aren't any harsh lines. If you wanted, you could add a little bronzer. I just personally wanted it to be only blush, though. I actually remember the day of my makeup artist did do it heavier on me, and then the lead asked her to bring it down a notch, so she did have to add powder, but I mean, she probably did it closer to what I've done here. Um, but obviously, I love something that's more bold. Alright, I think we're at a good place with the blush, and I don't think I am actually going to add any powder. I think I like the way that it looks. Alright, so we're almost done with the look now. I'm just going to add some highlight now, and then a lip, and that's going to be it. Alright, so I'm going to get in again with the Fortune highlighter. This is the highlighter brush that I like to use, and almost all the brushes I've been using are Real Techniques brushes, which are really affordable. They're at Target, drugstores. Often they even have sets at TJ Maxx for like really cheap, so I definitely would check there too. Oh, and they have them at Ulta as well. And then the other brand I'm using is Delium Tools. They have a green line, a yellow line, and a pink line. I've only used the green line, I think, but from what I can tell, they're all amazing. I think they actually have a really good sale right now, too, if you would be interested in picking them up. They're a little more expensive than the Real Techniques brushes, but still pretty affordable, and especially with their sale. Like, I know they have, like, one, like, full set that I think is only, like, $37 or something like that for 10 brushes in a roll, which is not bad at all for the quality. And just to let you know, I've had those green brushes since 2012, I want to say. So, and they're still in really, really good condition. So they definitely last a long time. I'm going to make it pop, but not as intensely as I normally do, even though I'm so tempted to, because with Doubledown highlighters, I love just packing them on and adding more and more because they're glorious, honestly. Um, their glow is my favorite glow. And if you like a more alien look, I definitely recommend the light highlighter because it has a green reflect. But it's not too out there. Like, it's still a really, really stunning color, even for everyday wear. For me, at least. All right. So now I'm going in with the, I believe these are called the Glow Stick Lip Oils, and this is in the shade Crimson Crush. It looks much darker than it is because this is just a lightly tinted oil. So it's really not going to add that much color. All right. And just since this is very pink tone, I'm going to add a little bit of the double gloss, oh my goodness, the Double Down lip gloss in the shade The Rebel. And I'm just going to put a little bit of this on the back of my hand and then add it with my finger. Just a tiny bit. I think actually I'm going to add a little bit of the Runaway. I have it readily available in my bag. Yes. Just because this is a little darker than what I was imagining, so I think that this nude, light neutral lipstick or lip gloss will bring the color down a little. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. All right. Should have had a napkin or something. Oh, here's one. All right, so this is the completed look from the Real Catwalk. I hope that you got some helpful tips and maybe learned something about behind the scenes in fashion if it's something that you didn't know. And I hope that you have checked out already the Real Catwalk video. It is up on YouTube and up on Instagram. I have it on my page. It's on the Real Catwalk Instagram account. Yeah, if you don't mind sharing it, we would love this to get out to more people. And thank you for Pacifica. Thank you to Pacifica and to Doubledown. I appreciate you both a lot. And to Doubledown especially, I am really happy to be on the journey, seeing the brand grow, seeing it reach more people. And yeah, I hope you all have an amazing day and evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are when you're watching this. Know that you're loved and you're more than enough exactly the way you are. So until next time, stay safe and stay well. Bye.